Ooh, welcome to another episode of The Greatest Pod, where we discuss and debate what makes something great. I am Ron Swallow.
I am Ed Greer, and today we have a great guest. I won't belabor all the credits and stuff that he has. He's one of the funniest guys I know. We just did a hilarious Patreon episode with him that you can check out on patreon.com/The Greatest Pod. But he's right here live, for free, and direct. One of the funniest guys I know, a comedian comrade, a really cool guy. Give it up for Gil Garibaldo.
Yeah.
What up? Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, you know what? I need to interrupt all of this to tell all of the people to click the like and the subscribe button, mash the bell, and if you're hearing this on the podcast, you know what else you should do? You should leave a 5-star review so that people start listening to our podcast even more than they are right now. So now that that's out of the way, Gil, tell them about how amazing you are.
I mean, I'm no big deal. I'm just a regular guy, guys. You know, I'm just like you out there listening to this podcast. You know, better. You know.
Yeah, you're better at listening.
Yeah, definitely. What?
Wait, say that again.
Well, you definitely jump into your pants 2 legs at a time. That's one area where you're better.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I've torn many pants that way, but you know what? You got to break some eggs to make a souffle, right? Am I right, guys?
That is how it works. I believe so.
Yes.
You gotta mix a few metaphors. So basically today, one thing we wanted to do was the title says Greatest Movies About LA, and I phrased it that way because I don't know, man. There are a lot of movies that are set in LA. There are a lot of movies where LA might even be counted as a character. But we're talking about the best ones where LA is like a major thing in them. So let's talk about it. Gil has a nice little list. I have a little list. Ron has a little list. And let's see if we can come down. And basically, we're going to be talking about movies that came out in our lifetimes. So don't be coming at me with no goddamn Sunset Boulevard and shit. Because we ain't trying to hear that right now on this podcast. These are things that were created, shot, all that jazz in our lifetimes for the most part. So, Gil, why don't you kick us off with one of your favorite movies about LA?
Bro, number one. The greatest movie about Los Angeles or Los Angeles in it. It's got all the landmarks. It's got huge stars, special effects. It was a blockbuster bomb, maybe. I don't remember. Volcano.
Oh. That it is about LA, given the fact that there aren't really volcanoes in LA. So it was a big deal that the volcano was in LA.
It makes no goddamn sense. The volcano's under the La Brea tar pits.
Oh my God. I could just see the pitches, the meeting and the pitch. Okay, well, we have a volcano in LA. That doesn't make any sense, but how do we make it make sense? Well, I mean, tar is in volcanoes, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, tar. Yeah.
So okay, what's an actual one that LA plays? An actual one where LA plays a big part in the story, where it's like, LA is like, this is about LA. This is one of the greatest LA movies.
Well, so this one's one of my favorites. I wouldn't really call it a LA movie. I would call it like my LA movie. Because it's like one of these epics that I saw like growing up, where I was just like, oh shit, there's fucking brown people and shit. That's pretty fucking dope, you know. And it's Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, Blood In, Blood Out. I may mix that up.
Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor. A long title for a long movie.
Yeah,
that movie is straight up 3 hours.
It's an
9
epic.
minutes long, and I watched it today.
And it was supposed to be longer.
Oh yeah, I think there's a 5-hour cut out there, but that's only, you know.
Yeah, they haven't released it yet, so I got a hashtag Snyder Cut Blood In, Blood Out. That's actually why I'm on on your guys' show tonight. I am promoting this guys. We need the 7-hour version of this movie. The prison, the prison scenes are just, masterpieces, But no, this movie is fucking fantastic, man. Growing up, it's like everyone, when you think gangster movie, you think The Godfather. Well, for me, for my peoples, this was our Godfather, man. It was an epic. It went through, 3 different lives, all in East LA, each one affected by different choices that they make. And they have ramifications. So it's kind of like one of those epics where it starts, they're kids, teenagers, whatever, and it progresses through their adult lives and just the crazy shit that happens. You got, the bad boy. He used to be a boxer, but he's kind of like in with the gangs and stuff. And you got, Miklo, the white guy that has Mexican family. So Mexicans, we sometimes have like white family members, and they usually get the nickname of Güero or Güera, Blanco or Blanca. It's just how it is, man. That's the culture thing.
I remember I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Pinche Güero was a time to run. That was my time to run. My time to run.
That was like a starter's pistol for you.
Yeah.
But,
hey, Pinche Güero! Oh shit!
Yeah, you gotta
time to fly.
Well, dude, I told you, I watched this movie, and Miklo was like, he was so down for his people, but they would always say stuff like "Güero" and shit like that, and you
they're like, oh, you ain't one of us, like,
right?
And I gotta prove myself,
right? And then so he ends up having to prove himself by doing more crime shit. Like it's crazy because like he has this advantage of his skin tone, but he doesn't want to be wanted by the people where that advantage would work. He wants to be wanted by his people. And in this particular case, some of his people were like, "Yay, man, we're battling with these other dudes. If you fuck these other dudes up, you'll get points in our eyes." And he was like, "Gotcha, buddy." And he just used that when he figured out that beating people up for his crew to show that he was down was the best way to get in with people. His life was over, basically, because he just kept getting more and more into it. Meanwhile, the badass dude who didn't have to prove himself so much ends up getting out of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have to do anything to ingratiate himself anymore. It was, and it's like that shit is a tragedy because there's another character who doesn't even do the gangster shit, but he got involved in the gangster shit and got beat up, and he was an artist, but now his body's all fucked up, and he gets hooked on Demerol and stuff, and oxycodone or whatever in the hospital. So now he's a slave to drugs. His homie's in prison, and his other buddy turns into a Marine, which is his own sort of slavery, and then becomes a cop, which is his own sort of slavery. So this group, you get to see them be some untouched kids, and then their lives just go in these 3 different directions that are wild.
Now, Gil, you grew up here, right? Like in LA, right?
Yeah.
So
originally in South Central.
Okay. So did you have like friends that lived sort of those types of lives?
Yeah, man. Not so much in like growing up in South Central. We're pretty sheltered. I know my my 2 older brothers. They definitely had a bunch of buddies that were part of that life, man. And there's this one guy. It was my oldest brother's friend. I forget his name. But they would tell me. So this dude, he got shot. Drive-by. Got shot in the stomach a bunch of times and stuff. He survived, but bunch of surgeries or whatever. So like one of the side effects of him was he would fart like death. It would be like the grossest smelling fart. And he would be able to do it like on command, but it was like a death bomb, just blah, and then just like clear the rooms, right? So they would go to clubs and stuff, and the buddy would be like, watch this, and go into this crowded dance floor and just rip the nastiest fart, and you just see the dance floor kind of, whoa, they just spread out, man. And I always thought that was so funny. But it sucks. You fucking got shot in a drive-by, but you know what? Hey, you make lemonade out of lemons, right? You got a gift.
They call me the gangster of farts.
He's known as Death Fart.
So Rod, do you have any movies that are in LA or based upon shit in LA that you would like to draw attention to today?
One I've been thinking about that I don't think anybody even remembers anymore is Swingers. It wasn't on any lists that I found, and I was just thinking about it the other day. Like, I loved that movie. I'm sure I haven't watched it in a while, so maybe I'll go back and be like, oh, like, oh, that wasn't good. Maybe or not. I mean, you got Vaughn in it and everything, but that was a fun movie, and it had a comedian. And the thing that I liked about the comedian, he was like, I mean, he kind of was like me, like a few gigs here and there, but like it's hard, and he's doing the best he can. And he was like, I love this, that this is the arc of the guy, because he's a good dude who's been making bad decisions, and when he finally lets go of like trying to pretend to be cool, he actually becomes cool.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story, because as soon as you let go of trying to pretend to be something you aren't, you get to be who you are, and that is the raddest shit ever. And I love stories like that. So yeah, Swingers. Plus, it was funny. You all grows up. You grows up and you grows up.
I like when he got that girl's number and then he just called her like 5 billion times. So it was like he didn't get her number because he totally turned her off. That was so real. Like I was like that, when people just sort of like up and succeed, that doesn't happen. There's steps to it. You get good enough to get the girl's number, then you call her and blow it. Then you call her and don't blow it. Then you blow it in person. Then you get there's steps to it. And I like how that movie was really realistic in his development as a person. It didn't have this like he's all that type crap to it. He didn't just sort of shake out his hair and take off his glasses and become a cool guy. Like there's steps to it that he had to go through. I kind of like that. Yeah, that's a good choice, bro.
It was so money, he didn't even know it, man.
Right.
That line is so good. Plus, there's a really LA stuff in this. There's super Los Angeles stuff in here, like going into the club and be like, it's dead here anyways. Like,
and that Dresden. I had friends who used to go to the Dresden, and they said it was like more or less like that.
Yeah. So that was just fun stuff, and LA is a huge part of that. Going to diners, being a bunch of drunken idiots.
Well, dude, the part that I hate about that movie is that I can relate to too hard is those grown ass dudes playing that old ass hockey game and fighting each other and like learning the little hacks. Because back then that hockey game was like double dribble. There was like 3 ways to win, and they were just using them on the screen. And how real that was to me the very first time I saw that movie, I was like, and now that movie's like 30 years old, I'm like, Jesus, this is crazy. Like that movie shows me the passage of time more than a lot of movies do, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of mine. What about you, Ed?
Predator 2. No.
Wow.
No, you know what? I
can't wait to put in the B-roll of Predator 2 shit. I'm gonna put the weirdest Predator 2 pictures. It's gonna be awesome.
No, dude, I'm not really picking that.
I know,
but basically, it is set in LA, though. I think, right? I think it is.
Yeah.
And
because somebody said in that pitch meeting, I assume after a lot of cocaine as well, what if the Predator was in the city?
Yep.
Okay. That was
it had to be,
it sounds fucking great. Let's do it.
And it had to be New York. It had to be New York or LA. And I think they just wanted to spread them out a little bit and show that the Predator is out amongst all of these different urban jungles, not just the skyscrapers and shit. He's everywhere. Anyway, I'm gonna cut all of that out. My choice, I think, would echo one of Gil's choices. I want to talk about The Big Lebowski, because that movie to me is very, very LA. Like, just to jump around a little bit, there's a period in the movie where the dude, the hero, ends up out in Malibu with like actual rich people, and he's freaked out. And I felt that. I've definitely driven down the coast and ended up in like Malibu or some super affluent area and been like, oh, this is a whole nother country. Like, people don't understand how divided LA is. And even just other parts of the movie when he's traveling to different places. He's in like Reseda for a minute, and I feel the Reseda-ness of it. I feel like the different areas of LA that he's going to where they find his car and shit. A lot of that shit's real LA to me. And but yeah, I definitely like to talk about The Big Lebowski. It's a classic.
Yeah, I'm always a fan when a movie makes it a point to like bring up the In-N-Out burger. You know, it's like.
I just wish more movies would talk about how their fries suck dick. I really appreciate that. Hamburgers, talk about how good the hamburgers are all day, but those fries are crap fries, and I will not abide by this.
The Ron will not abide.
Yeah.
My friends died face down in the mud.
For better fries than this. You foist these fries on a veteran on Shabbos? You foist these fries?
I don't have shit fries on Shabbos.
Hey, that's kind of the point of the show. So, wrapping up the Big Lebowski talk, I think that another dope thing about the Big Lebowski is the whole premise that he gets involved in this world because he has the exact same name as a rich guy, but his life is so much different than that guy's, and he gets to see when that guy's dressing him down and telling him that you're a bum and you're a loser and all that kind of stuff, and then later you find out that guy is just a rich person's version of a loser. He squandered the fortune. He's an asshole. He's a black sheep to his family, and he's kind of taking that out on the Jeff Bridges character of Lebowski. That's just sort of the dude. He's taking out how bad he feels about himself on other people because he ain't shit to his superiors. So he's trying to find a way to be superior to somebody else. It's just like
punching down.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. That shit really gets me, especially in detective stories when that's another thing. It's a detective story where the guy doesn't know that he's on the case. He's way into a case without even knowing that he's on a case. And I love,
dude. And that alone, that's the quintessential LA movie too. Just think about it. There's so many movies about LA where the main story is a detective's on a case. Chinatown, LA Confidential. Shit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Great fucking LA fucking movie too, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
Toontown's a fucking shit. It's shit. It's just a lot of meth. Toontown's seen better days.
And they got to get better artists, like Breaking Bad type good artists to come draw their meth. This dude's drawing some shitty meth, man. He's drawing some stepped on meth. We don't like this.
It's primo 3D printed.
Right.
Meth.
Right. Absolutely. So basically,
it's Pixar's fucking Walter White, pretty much.
Dude, Pixar dope. Super well rendered Pixar dope. Oh man, the first Pixar movie that has dope in it. I'm gonna watch out for that now and see how well they render it.
That's so funny. Okay, you guys, I got another one that I like. And it's also ridiculous. And I like it because Brandon Lee's in it, and it's Showdown in Little Tokyo.
That is not one of your quintessential LA movies.
It is.
I refuse.
It is now. I just realized because I wasn't sure if that was filmed in LA.
In
LA, but when I think about it now, it's it was literally filmed in Little Tokyo, in Los Angeles, with Dolph Lundgren as a Los Angeles cop.
Whoa.
And Brandon Lee as well. And they're gonna eat fish off that naked chick later on, guys.
I thought that was that one with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes, where there's that
happened in that too.
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun. Yeah. That happened in Rising Sun as well. This was Brandon Lee's one of Brandon Lee's first Hollywood roles, and he delivered that line like a pile of garbage. I gotta be honest with you. I feel bad about saying it because you shouldn't talk bad about Brandon Lee because he's the best. But yeah.
Wait, what line?
What's the line?
It's literally, after we get done kicking this guy's ass, we're gonna go eat fish off those naked chicks. That's literally the line. I don't know if I should blame him for delivering a line like that badly, but it was the 90s. And that's what happened in the 90s. Stupid lines like that. Literally 1991. So.
I mean, he might have been trying to be ironic or something. You don't know. Brandon Lee was a very funny guy. Maybe he was being funny. But
it
they
was a joke.
also have him saying in that movie, and I don't know why I remember this line, but Dolph Lundgren gets out of the hot tub or some shit, and Brandon Lee sees his wiener, and he goes,
That's right.
"You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man."
Yep.
And
Yep, he does say that.
That last part of on a man, like obviously he's thinking about elephant dicks and horse dicks and all different types of dicks. He's like, okay, now those are crazy big. I'm going to subdivide my dick category and go to men.
Yes.
How many men's dicks, human male dicks, have I seen? Hither and there across the glens. Yeah, that's just weird.
I mean, what you just said right now, that should have been the line. Just him explaining, breaking down, like him saying the line, right? Like, that's the biggest dick I've seen on a human man before. Yeah. And then let me explain. Elephants, donkeys, horses, massive cocks, okay? So I've seen all of these. I'm straight, by the way.
Just understand. I just want to know about dicks. Like, it doesn't mean I'm gay. I just think it's interesting. You know that some horse dicks are bigger than other horse dicks? Like, you can have a big horse dick if you're a horse, and that's pretty amazing if you think about it. Like, there's a variety of size of dicks in every single animal, just like in humans. Oh. All I'm saying is that we're all one in dick size.
It's a world spectrum. It's a planetary spectrum of dicks. Okay, so Showdown in Little Tokyo is one of your favorite LA movies.
I love that movie, though. I do. I secretly love that movie. I love almost everything Brandon Lee ever did.
Of course. Okay, what's a real one? What's the real one?
A real one is I Love You, Man.
Huh. That does have a lot of Venice in it, right?
Yeah, Venice and the observatory. The Griffith Observatory, and shots of downtown.
And, they're doing houses all the time. So they're literally in LA houses and like rich people houses and stuff. And it's so interesting. And who's Lou Ferrigno is in it, being Lou Ferrigno. It's just funny. The dynamic between those two.
Oh shit!
It's so good.
Love You, Man. I was thinking Yes, Man, because that one also takes place in LA. But I Love You, Man. Yes, I like that movie a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very a ridiculously funny movie and definitely LA. Like the feeling you get about it and the way those guys go through like their sadness to come together into less sadness is the most LA thing I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, I like how they met and they met cute and they had nice their own I like that whole thing about meeting at an open house. Because people act like a certain way in an open house. My girl watches all these damn real estate shows where like people are I don't know, on the fucking TV in the bedroom. There's constantly couples walking in and out of bedrooms and lawns and talking to each other about the rooms and how the rooms are laid out and blah 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 constantly. Like there are a myriad television shows that are all apparently about couples doing that. And You can't tell a lot about how somebody takes an open house. Do they go for the cookies? You know what I mean? Are they just there to fuck around? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who want to buy the house, they're not going for the cookies and the lemonade. They're like actually looking at the fucking crown molding and shit. You know what I mean? They're like serious about it. So like those dudes fucking around at an open house, that is kind of an interesting place to meet somebody's actual personality at an open house.
Man, I got to tell you, I want to go to an open house like that one day.
Like just a super rich house that you can't afford like at all?
No. I mean, I want to go to an open house where I actually take it seriously. Like, I want to have the ability to do that. I want to go into a open house and look at it thinking like, oh, I could buy this house. I don't want to have to go in to get free cookies and lemonade because I didn't eat that day,
Dude, that's my life going turtles.
These Girl Scout cookies, who can afford these?
Dude, it'd be funny if like they start running your credit as soon as you step on the property. Like your credit is like instantly run by like a retina scan. And then like, mechanical dogs kick you off the property. All right, I've just described a dystopian future for real estate. That's terrible.
Yeah, it sounds good. That's what happens when China takes over.
You mean Amazon?
Yes, or when Amazon takes over. Either one of those, yeah.
So I think I have an LA movie that's actually good and actually about LA, and it is called Heat. Heat is a number one, a great movie with great performances by Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, amongst other people. And Michael T. Williamson, or whatever his name is, makes another. I think we were talking about him on the Patreon earlier, and my brain is farting. But like, he's in it playing a black detective that works with Vincent Hanna, played by Al Pacino. And I just love this movie because the showdown takes place at LAX. The diner scene takes place at a really famous diner around here that I don't even know exists anymore. The weird area where Vincent Hanna is shaking down his informant is this cockfighting unincorporated area of LA that was like wild, and people rode horses over there and shit. Like at the hip hop club that he goes to that's underneath a Payless shoe store, basically in a strip mall. Like all this weird shit that's so LA, you know, and that those flats with the big minerals that are being dumped down in like the city of industry and shit like that. I don't know. It just has a lot. In the Long Beach docks, they lose the cops down at the docks in Long Beach and shit. There's so much LA to this fucking movie, man. It's like almost overbearing. I mean, their initial plot when they decide to rob this armored truck by knocking it over, like hitting it literally with a giant truck and flipping it over, and then grabbing the stun dudes and grabbing the shit in there. That plan works because they're equidistant from two freeways that they can get away, and that's an LA robbery. Like this perfect nexus where you could jump on either freeway and evade the cops. This shit is LA through and through, man.
Yeah,
Heat, baby.
Who else would? How this doesn't make sense anywhere else? Like, if we could take this freeway, we're scot free. You know, it'll work in a made up town, you know, that they create for the movie. But realistically, LA is that convenient for crime, but also not too much either, because that was around rush hour, man. They wouldn't have gotten very far and shit.
Yeah, you got to plan you got to time that out great.
Yeah.
Although I got to tell you, if you got to go through the 5 at that one spot on, I want to say Normandy. No, that's the 101 in Normandy. If you got to take the 101 through Normandy, you're fucked. No matter what time you go, it's gonna slow down. Do not try to escape at that moment at that place. But those guys in Heat, they would know that.
Yeah, you know that happened today. They pull out the heist. They're in the car. They're speeding out to get on the freeway, and they're like, "Ah, shit!" They're like, you know what? I got a plan. Cut to all these motherfuckers on fucking scooters and shit, fucking just going through the fucking. The cops are behind us! Bah, 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 bah. You know, and that shit fucking wild too.
Yeah, bird scooters. They rent bird scooters. They don't realize they're being tracked.
Well, dude, but check it out. I mean, I really think the plan is, I think you guys are absolutely right. They get off on Melrose. And I think Melrose, the sidewalk is made up of bird scooters and bird shit and a little bit of cement, but basically all the sidewalks are bird scooters. So like, yeah, they go down there and they just stow away their getaway clothes, and they dress like stupid hipsters, and they all put their money in backpacks, like pink backpacks, and they can just hide in plain sight, just driving up and down Melrose while the cops are searching for these hardcore gangsters. They're just sort of tooling around, listening to fucking Odd Future albums and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just skating around Melrose, going into different stores. You know what I mean?
Sounds great.
You know what? The remake of Heat is going to be it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Check out our new check out Reboot It, where we take on Heat.
It's called the hotness, that new hotness.
No, it's called lit. It's just a flame emoji.
Yeah, it's just a flame emoji.
Yes,
that's
absolutely. Absolutely. Flame emoji the movie. And like, we got to get a De Niro of this generation and a Pacino of this generation. Good fucking luck. Good luck, buddy.
Who would be the Pacino?
Zac Efron and
yeah, clearly.
What's his name? Taylor Hitch or whatever.
Taylor Hitch, yeah. Perfect.
Or Army Hammer. We could have Army Hammer.
Yeah, Army Hammer.
Yes,
sounds great.
Army Hammer is Vincent Hanna, and the De Niro character is
Zac Efron.
Oh God.
And, Val Kilmer still he's still in it because he's back, baby.
Oh yeah, he's back.
So Val Kilmer.
Hey, they have that scene where they're facing off against each other, and Zac Efron's like, "Hey, and if you do box me in, bruh, I'll just like DJ on out of there, bro," or whatever. I don't know how he sounds.
They used to take DJ on out of it.
He was a DJ. He was a DJ in a movie. Like the movie tried to posit this world where DJs got in hella trouble. Like he was DJing and then he fucked up, like Rounder style or something like that, and got into hella bad trouble that had to DJ his way out of. Yeah, that was.
This sounds like the plot to.
I was like 8 Mile of DJs.
I mean, I wish it was that interesting. So fresh. I mean, actually, the 8 Mile of DJs was Juice, if you think about it. Because in Juice, there's a giant DJ battle at the beginning.
But
all right, they're at the end.
That takes place in New York, and we're talking about LA.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to bring up this movie, one of my absolute favorites, Menace to Society.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie. Like, I remember watching we used to have a satellite dish, and it was like a free preview. It was the opening scene at the liquor store and shit. What'd you say about my mama? I go out to the trouble there, and I was like, oh shit! I'd never seen anything like that. I was like, dude, I've seen this kind of shit. Well, not the gun, not fucking store clerk being shot to death, but like that shit, like that,
Mm-hmm.
like Korean liquor store owner, yelling at the freaking Mexicans and blacks that are we stole candy, all right, fine, we get yelled at, yeah, all right, hey, fuck it, get the fuck out of there, but like that shit was real, and I was just like, holy shit, what is this fucking movie? So this is pre-internet. We went to the video store, fucking saw it right there, like, oh, we're fucking getting this, and we started showing that movie to every fucking person we knew. Same thing with like Blood In, Blood Out. When you found this movie, you showed fucking everyone, showed all the homies. Even Big Lebowski, I showed that shit to so many fucking people. Introduced those worlds to them. They're like, holy shit, you're like a movie genius. And I'm just like, yeah, no big fucking deal. Yeah, sure. Well, then I meet real people that know about movies. They're like, oh, have you seen Chinatown? I'm like, is that like an action movie or what? Is
that a martial arts movie starring Jack Nicholson?
No, they're like, oh shit, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, with a fucking Kurt Russell. Yeah, fucking great fucking movie.
Oh yeah,
like Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
You fucking, which I love that fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
Great movie. But anyway, back to Menace to Society though.
It's so good.
That movie was so fucking good, man.
And I mean, also directed by Black people. So that's nice when that happens.
It felt that movie felt super authentic, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Hughes brothers got down. And I think that came after Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So I think it was interesting, like the juxtapositions in each of those movies are pretty interesting because we'll talk about Boys in the Hood later because it's more, but Boys in the Hood was like The Godfather and Menace to Society was like Scarface. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? In regards to like, you know what I mean? Their aesthetics of what tone, this was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a little bit more mythic in Boys in the Hood. Whereas in Menace to Society, it was really it was really down and dirty of like there weren't any super gangsters doing a bunch of super gangster shit. It was about the sociopaths next door. You know what I'm saying? The people who are crazy as fuck, walking right next to you, going to your school, being your best friend sometimes.
Yeah, they're your fucking homies, but they're fucking nuts. They do some crazy shit. They'll pull out a gun on somebody. They'll shoot. They'll kill somebody. Fuck,
and involve you. And then the one thing I liked about we didn't get to talk about in Blood In, Blood Out that shows up in this movie as well is the movie contains like two people who are straight up criminals. Each of these movies have two people in them who are straight up criminals. But one of them is a total sociopath. And that's the difference. Like you could be driven into crime, you can blah, blah, blah. You can be a sociopath driven into crime and then realize that you enjoy it and you'll never stop. Or you can be a person driven into crime who sees the error of their ways or at least sees a way to survive in the system. Because again, I think it's not so much that somebody in either movie gets noble or a better person than the sociopath, really, but they find a way to survive the system. Benjamin Bratt in Blood In, Blood Out learns to just use his violence as a soldier and a cop, but he never gets away from a life of violence. He never gets away from, you know, any of that bullshit. And like Kane in Menace to Society, he gets out of the life but doesn't, you know, and he just like loves a girl and decides to stop gangbanging, but like it's too late. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody gets out of life.
Well, the interesting thing about that too is like, all right, let's say he doesn't get, you know, a spoiler alert. What if he doesn't die? You know, and then he moves to, where is it, Atlanta or whatever they were going and stuff. Nothing about his character says that, you know, once he gets to Atlanta, you know, he's not going to start this shit all over again. You know, it's wired in him, as you know. So no, that's a great observation on that. Yeah. But I thought you were, you know, the whole time I thought you were talking about O-Dog though.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean,
Kane, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that's right. He did do some fucking wild shit. You know, like he fucked up that dude, robbed somebody for the fucking rims and their shirt, and made them fucking, you know, buy them. Like, hey, give me a number 2. Like, what? I said number 2, motherfucker. I'm like, hey, let me get a number 2. That seems pretty fucking hilarious. And it's fucked up too. Like, if I got robbed for my rims, my shirt, and I had to buy this guy lunch, and just like, oh man, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, man. I can't believe he did this to me.
Yeah, it's a really denigrating. A lot of denigrating things happen to people, you know, that are frankly in the hood. Like your average motherfucker in the hood can tell you some stories about crazy shit that's happened to them that had nothing to do with anything they did or any of that shit. It's just like, yeah, so some motherfuckers beat me up and they took my shoes. But luckily, I was close to the Payless, so I got me some like $22 slip-ons and stuff. But then I didn't have no money to ride the bus, so I had to walk and some slip-ons for 15 miles. But you know what I'm saying? And it's like that just happened. That just happened to them. Yeah, it's not no big deal because it just that's what happened.
I actually got beat up one time. Found out a guy just broke my nose. The story is pretty hilarious, but I'm not going to tell it right now because this isn't the time. Maybe I'll tell it on the Patreon at some point. But me and my buddy were walking. I didn't like, they were yelling out the car, and my buddy was like, we should cross the street. We did not cross the street, and they came and punched me in the face, and my nose got broke, and I bled all over the place, and it was crazy, and I screamed like a lady, and then they ran away. When I say scream like a lady, I was 13, so I had a very high voice at the time. So to be clear, then I got to high school, and 3 years later, I had a guy in class, and I was telling the story, making it funny about how I got my nose broke. And later on, he came up to me in the and I found the people who knew these guys wouldn't say who they were because they were in a gang and they were scared of them. And then later on, while I'm in high school, this guy comes up to me and apologizes to me and tells me that was him when I was telling the story in one of my classes. So and he was like, yeah, that's how I got in that gang at the time. I'm like, not doing that shit anymore because I went to what we call the D home back in Albuquerque and decided not to do that shit anymore. And I'm sorry that I did that to you. And I was like, this is great.
I also think another LA movie that nobody talks about because I guess nobody liked it because they're dumb assholes who are expecting something else. But Jackie Brown. I never talked about Jackie. I always talk about Jackie Brown. I love Jackie Brown, but like them going to the Hawthorne Mall and shit, them going down to Inglewood, homegirl getting out of jail, and they're going down to Inglewood, down towards Inglewood, and they're just gonna hang out at a cool bar that's dark and has black people in it, and he wants to take her to a cop bar somewhere near a beach city or some shit like that, and she's like, I just got out of jail. I don't want to go hang out with rich assholes or fucking cops. I want to hang out with cool people in Inglewood. What the fuck? Just little shit like that makes it so LA. And then obviously LAX, I guess, plays a part in it as, you know, an airport and all that type of jazz. But like, I just kind of love the LA that it posits to, because it's like you can have a girl down in Compton You can have you a girl over in Long Beach. You can have you a girl over in Malibu, the way that Ordell did. And that was his life, that circuit of LA, going to these different hoods, hanging out with these girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always thought that was pretty cool. Not just because he's such a player, because he's not a player. That's another thing. Nobody was a goddamn criminal genius in Jackie Brown. You know what I mean? Heat has criminal geniuses, people who like steal your codes off the internet before there even was an internet, and then drill a hole under your bank and turn off the alarms 2 days before they even go do the heist, and so on and so forth. Like real criminal geniuses. Jackie Brown, there's a guy that needs to get his money in from Mexico and a stewardess that's gonna help him or not. That's the story. And there's just so much layers to that, like a real life LA. You know, and Robert De Niro once again plays a wonderful part as a dude named Louis Guerra who just got out of jail. And he ain't got no snappy shit to say about getting out of jail. He ain't got no great stories. He's not a raconteur. He's just a dull, fucked up old man who's trying to just find a way to thug his way into some money before he gets too old to hold a gun. And Robert De Niro playing a part like that was fucking amazing, man. I really love that movie. I really love Jackie Brown, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's not my favorite Tarantino movie, but it hits all the landmarks of the like the unpopular or not as famous like LA spots or cities really so yeah, like a lot of Tarantino movies do that. Like I was gonna bring up Pulp Fiction. I love Pulp Fiction. It's one of my favorite movies. A lot of iconic spots there. They make mentions. Like the fucking the wolf. Yeah, where are you in the valley? It takes 30 minutes to get there. I'll be there in 10 or some shit like that. It's like, that's fucking badass.
And it's like 9 minutes and 22 seconds later.
Yeah, some shit like that, And, being from LA, you're just like, even like 30 minutes, yeah, good fucking luck. That takes way longer than that. And then, but, there's people like the Wolf out there that could get there in record time. So that's pretty cool right there too. But yeah, Pulp Fiction, fucking, of course, Jackie Brown, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Shit, man. I mean, Tarantino's from LA, where he fucking grew up too. So the amount of just name drops that he kind of throws out through all his movies and shit. Fucking
I like even in Reservoir Dogs, they talk about Ladera Heights. It's like
that's right.
You know what I mean?
Who the fuck's bring up Ladera Heights?
Right.
Only
unless yeah, exactly. A dude
unless you're from
here. Yeah.
Right, unless you're from here, you can't really know the qualitative difference between Ladera Heights and the Ladera Heights and somewhere else.
Yeah, I like any movie that brings up like Van Nuys or Studio City. What? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I love that shit. I just think it's funny because like when people ask me where I live, I say Los Angeles, but I don't really live in Los Angeles. I live in the Valley, but the Valley, guess what? It's Los Angeles. It don't matter. It's all Los Angeles. Long Beach is Los Angeles. Get it together. I don't give a shit.
Well, dude, that also brings me to another of my favorite LA movies, which is Boogie Nights. And Boogie Nights mentions Reseda, Torrance,
Eddie Adams from Torrance.
Eddie Adams from Torrance, baby. Like, and Boogie Nights, man, really is about the Valley because about LA and the Valley and stuff. Because obviously, in the Valley was a lot of porn production and all the jazz. I mean, to this day, a lot of porn production takes place in the Valley, and I think we talked about it on the last pod with Josh Miller, but when videotape came into porn in the 70s, as the 70s changed into the 80s, and they just stopped shooting like Seika movies and John Holmes movies on 35 millimeter film, I think porn took a dive, man. I think porn took a dive in quality. The safety standards on porn sets went down because it's just like if you're five buddies in somebody's hot tub now. It isn't the same as like setting up a dolly track so you can dolly in on somebody's butt cheeks while they're getting clapped. You know what I mean? Like there was no more filmmaking craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, that movie, I never know how I felt about it because it just made me sad when I first watched it. I think I could rewatch it now with like a more adult orientation, but I watched it when I was pretty young, and I was just like, oh, so everybody's just gonna do drugs and die? That's what this movie's gonna be about? Oh, but they fuck along the way a little bit, and they're all their lives suck and are terrible, and then I get to see a giant dick, and that's literally that's what I thought of the movie at the time. I hated it, and I feel like I could watch it now and actually like get like they're talking about tragedy and how the want for success will drive you to do a bunch of really stupid shit. And I think it's a lot more deep than I thought it was. But back then I just thought, I think there was a point where the first time I watched it, I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is sad. And I just fast forwarded to see the big dick and that was it.
That's like, the biggest dick I've seen on a man.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I'm gonna cut that into that final scene. Brandon Lee, like, he's gonna whip it out, and then it's gonna cut to Brandon Lee. Like, that's the biggest dick I've seen.
Oh.
Please do that.
So I really do think that would be the funniest thing ever, and I think the world needs it as well. Because I mean, I get you, Ron, but it's like to me, it's one of those things where the great tragedies always have people in them who kind of couldn't do anything else. So it's a tragedy that this is the only thing they can do. Yeah. But if this is the only thing they can do, their life is going to be fucked up. Like all these, we're talking about all these movies in this episode about like a lot of people in crime stories are that way. Like, hey, I take down scores. That guy from Heat, I take down scores. I've been in prison since I was 17. If I go to get a fucking square job, they're going to laugh me out of there because I've been in every major prison in California for years and years, like 17, 20 years of my adult life. So I learned how to pull scores better in prison. And now that I'm out, I pull so many scores you don't even see that I have a dope-ass Malibu crib. And I have a fake job down at the docks that pays for it, and you can't bust me not going to that job. So fuck you. Like, this is my life. I steal. And it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to tell that guy? Oh, you should reform. Do we have any final ones as we wrap up here that are quintessential LA movies? And I don't want to hear no goddamn Falling Down or no shit.
Oh, man. Falling Down, though, man. That movie's so fucking great.
No,
I mean, Training Day?
Yeah, Training Day. That's pretty fucking LA right there, man.
Yeah,
it
is. It is pretty.
I mean, of course, Boys in the Hood. This story, it's just like fuck. It had everything in there, man. It had the young father raising his son, Cuba Gooding Jr. You know, it's got Ice Cube the fuck up. You know, he's gangster. He's doing knucklehead shit, but he's got a dope ass fucking Impala and shit. His brother, fucking football star. You know, he's going to USC and shit. You know, And they got buddies that, they got shot up. One's in a fucking, wheelchair and stuff. And it's just that slice of life shit. The parties, the environment, the school shit, like the, when they get like rolled up on, they're just chilling, cars cruising around and stuff. Gets bumped by someone. Fucking, he's like, hey man, watch what the fuck you say. That's real shit, man. That shit's happened to me before. And I'm just like, man, what? Fuck you. I don't fucking care, But then just flashing a piece, and that has repercussions, That is what was happening at that time period, and still sometimes now in Los Angeles. That's like the it ain't the La La Land shit. This is like the real LA shit, And to see that on the fucking big screen, man, fucking mind blowing for me because I never thought I'd see the shit that that people like me were around for. People that like me were around like on the big screen because big screen you think like Disney shit, fucking great stories, detectives and doctors and whatnot. You just see some knucklehead fucking gangsters trying to get out of a shitty fucking situation and stuff, and they don't get out. Guess what happens? They fucking don't stay there. They don't get out.
Yeah,
and it's just like there's no happy ending, with these.
Well, it's just like we were talking about earlier. It's like forcing some arc into everything is an absolute lie. That's the point. It's and a lot obviously movies reserve the right to be aspirant They reserve the right to be more interesting, more interesting than real life, more outlandish than real life. They reserve the right to do all that. But those times when you do see something that rings so true on the big screen, as like, a lot of times people like sportscasters love to like low key say this weird shit of like, this person grew up in the ghetto and they ran and jumped and whatever their way out of the ghetto. Well, unless you have some hardcore motherfuckers who are willing to protect you from everybody who's jealous of the fact that you can run and jump higher than everybody, or unless people are invested in your success, like LeBron didn't get touched because motherfuckers in Cleveland were like, yo, if this dude gets on, us around him can get actually fucking rich. Like really rich, like stupid rich. Like his childhood friends are now all millionaires. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that we can overestimate how many people along the lines help LeBron out of some situation where a motherfucker bumped into him and somebody pops up and goes, hey man, that's LeBron. So I think I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here, or else this Mac 10 is gonna spit because this motherfucker is going to the championship. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no bullshit right now. Go ahead about your business. All right, LeBron, that's cool. I got this shit. You know what I mean? I know shit like that happened for a lot of great athletes who happen to grow up in the hood. And nowadays, a lot of great athletes don't even grow up in the hood, dog. They're the sons of NBA players who fuck Swedish models that are 8 feet tall. So now you got this rainbow cornbread colored motherfuckers taking over the league. but
then there's motherfuckers who also don't leave the hood. They get in the NFL and they keep the hood in their life. Who's that dude who shot himself with a fucking gun?
Well, like Plaxico Burress, but we talk about like people like Aaron fucking Fernandez and shit.
Yes,
or Aaron
that guy
Fernandez, who like, yeah, boy, that motherfucker was hood as fuck.
Yeah,
but it also shows you that there are just, again, the hood isn't full of sociopaths, but the sociopaths in the hood are unchecked by anybody, just like the sociopaths in the fucking police department are unchecked by anybody. And that's why they meet each other so often, because sociopaths unchecked are going to meet sociopaths unchecked, which is, again, harkening back to why I like stuff like Heat and stuff, because who's to say that the detective isn't as crazy as the thief in that movie? He's talking about, hey, our greatest. Give me all you got. Give me all you. He's spazzing out on people. I think Al Pacino said his character kind of did a few bumps of coke every now and again to kind of keep him going through the day. The difference between him and a criminal is he's got a badge. He's a hunter in the night, wanted to hunt people down. So he got into a business where he could shoot people who are harming other people. That's great. That doesn't automatically make you a hero. In Blood In, Blood Out, Paco gets out of the gang life to become a Marine. Your gang wears green now. What the fuck are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? In regards to all this change and all this, like, well, this gave me the discipline I got out of the hood. You got into another gang. Just admit that part and we'll be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that gang's got a pension. So
hey, you
and here's the other thing.
You don't know about my gang. My gang has a pension.
Nah, hey, we got like 401ks, man. We got like crazy cool benefits, hey. Hey, your kid, if he wants to go to college, man, hey, we'll hook it up, man. We know all the best community colleges, man. Get 'em in.
I know for a fact there's some gangster motherfuckers who can get you into USC. I know that for a fucking fact. Them kids ain't responding to those duffel bags full of cash just from boosters. I think there's some real gangster shit going on in some of those schools. Because some gangster motherfuckers love them some USC or UCLA, even if it's just for the colors or whatever.
What I think is interesting is how many movies based in LA are mostly tragedies, or at least have lots of tragic figures in the lives of them. I mean, I know all movies have tragedy as a necessity because you got to have trauma in it or whatever. But like, it is interesting that the most realistic versions that we call real life slice of LA stuff are movies where just shit ends bad.
Oh, speaking of which, I had one on my list. Drive. Drive is a tragedy because like the hero in there doesn't get away with the girl. Maybe the girl gets away, but he doesn't get away with her because he has to give a certain amount of himself up to the whole process or whatever. And I love the fact that the very first scene is one of the dopest getaways I ever saw in a movie. Like he just straight up pulls into the Clippers game and all those fucking loser Clipper fans are coming out of the arena and he just blends in with them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that shit is great. That was
he just
so
had to look
cool.
sad because he knew that that the Clippers lost.
Yeah,
and that even if they had won, you'd still be sad because you're a Clippers fan.
And also to the time period, the owner was probably Donald Sterling. So you're just like, we lost we won, but we got a really fucking piece of shit racist owner.
Yep. And so, like, in order to get away with this crime, he uses the traffic from the Staples Center letting out. That's some real LA shit, dude. And when they go out they go out to like the Pacific Palisades or somewhere, and they're driving their cars and having all that scene with Christina Hendricks. Criminally underused Christina Hendricks. Anyway, Drive is a real LA movie too. I just wanted to bring that out there. So do we have any more as we round them out?
I'll just bring this one up. It's more, I don't want to bring it up for the actual list, but I'll just give it an honorable mention. It's one of my favorite movies too. Born in East LA with Cheech Marin. And I didn't include it. I love that movie. But it mostly takes place in Mexico, so I was like, nah, it's more of that, you know. But another movie where I was just like, I never thought I'd see these people on the screen. It's hilarious, you know. The jokes, they're like dumb, but they're hilarious, man. Paul Rodriguez is fucking amazing in that shit, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got like Echo Park. I think it's got like Echo Park Lake, you know. It's got fucking downtown. And then the 1980s, kind of like, you know, the lowrider cars, just like dumb shit like that. It's like it's fun. It's a fun movie. Love it.
Holy shit, guys! We forgot Beverly Hills Cop.
I don't think we forgot it. I think it's its own other type of movie. But I do agree that LA is obviously very important because Victor Maitland. I don't know if you would find Victor Maitland in Detroit. I think that whole villain, he's like a weird Danish dude who runs an art gallery who's doing a bunch of drug dealing and shit. That's some real Beverly Hills upper crust crime shit. So yeah, Beverly Hills Cop definitely would have to be in LA. And I love him checking into the Beverly Hills Hotel. How he checks into that hotel is pretty fucking epic, man. I love that shit. I wanted to do one that is in my honorable mention list too. It's also a Quentin Tarantino movie, not one that he directed, one that he acted, that one that he wrote, and it is True Romance. That movie, movie's whole mechanism works because of LA. Because they go there in Detroit, he comes up upon a bunch of coke. The only people he thinks do that much coke, as much coke as he has like $500,000 worth of coke. And he can only think of one place where if you have $500,000 of coke, you can get rid of it quick. And it's Los Angeles. You know what I mean? and specifically the movie business. He knows his friend who's a big time actor in LA. This guy's got like 2 commercials. And that's what I wanted to talk about real quick in this section of the talk is like everybody from your hometown, unless you, I guess, Gil, you might have grown up here, but like me and Ron are from other places, and we have people back at those places who know that we are in Hollywood. So everything you do in Hollywood is like magnified to this, like, hey man, my friend in Hollywood, he's doing all these big things. He was on Comedy Central one time. Whoa! They're like totally blown away by too much shit. They see you on a commercial or something, they're blown the fuck away. That's Clarence is like that about his buddy Dick Ritchie. His buddy Dick Ritchie is not an actor. He's more of a sleeper than an actor. And he comes out on like this wish that this guy can get him in with Lee Donowitz, the biggest producer in the world that does the most coke. And he fucks around and does it. He comes out here on a wing and a prayer. That'd be like if I came out I'm one of Ron's friends from fucking Albuquerque. I come out here and we end up, me, Ron, and him and CAA selling coke to somebody. That it'd be a dream. But it happens for Clarence and True Romance.
That'd be a great fucking movie, man.
Dude, yeah. Well, it's called True Romance. That's what I'm saying. It's a really, I just really love that movie, dude, because it's like about the power of dreams. If you can dream up a customer for your $500,000 worth of coke, you can get through it, even if your sale gets broken up by the cops and gangsters shooting each other. Dare to dream. Dare to dream.
I want to write the movie where Ed and I are from the same town and we try to go Sell coke to anybody. That's hilarious.
Dude, I would be. You know what? I think my character is like got the Narcan on him all the time and the test strips. I'm just like, I don't want to ingest any improper cocaine. Then let me test it out. And I wouldn't do it like the 80s dudes, so they dip their pinky in it. Nah, fuck that. That's not scientific enough for me.
Yeah.
I'd be a nerd about doing coke. That's what I'm saying. I'd be the nerdiest cokehead ever.
We bring like a
spreadsheet. According to this level right here, this the purity is not exactly 98%, like you said. It's more of a 92.6. I don't know if it's worth that much. And then cut to a graveyard funeral tombstone. How'd he die? He's like, he was just too much of himself, man. What do you mean by that? The drug game.
Yeah, he died as he lived, quibbling over cocaine
and statistics.
Oh yeah, and stats. Yeah. What's the 3-point percentage of this coke? Is this coke more than 40% from 3? I don't think so.
And then just the idea of me selling coke is ridiculous. I don't even know who I would talk to. Oh wait, all of my friends. That's terrible. Maybe we should cut this out.
Dude, if this were a reality TV show where like I'm the host, you two are the contestants, you're like, all right, guys, on today's challenge, Ed, Ron, you're gonna sell cocaine. You have 24 hours to sell cocaine.
Okay, we just go to the Comedy Store. 24 hours. I need an hour.
It'd be like Brewster's Millions, but with cocaine. It's like, all right, you have 24 hours to unload this cocaine. So you just go to parties, you're just like, here, dude.
Well, all right, so it's we're all done. Ed, you got rid of all your cocaine. Congratulations. It's impressive. Ron, you got rid of half of it. But Ron's the winner because he sold it for money. Ed, you gave it away. You're America's worst drug dealer. Ron, you are America's best drug dealer.
Dude, and then they put me in jail because some of my coke landed on like a kid and gave him a hemorrhage. So like I didn't do anything wrong, and I go to jail. And Ron wins the contest. And part of the contest is legal protection. Like, oh yeah, he's also got immunity because he was on this show selling for us.
Also, he's white.
Oh man. But all right, so Gil, where can people read your humor and interact with you on the interwebs?
All right, well, of course, on Twitter at Gil Garibaldo. Don't. It's basically first, last name, and then NT at the end. Like you do or you don't. There you go, Gil Garibaldo. Don't at Gil Garibaldo on Twitter. Same thing on Instagram. And we're gonna have a lot of stuff upcoming too, man. So I'll be posting stuff on both of those social media sites right there. And if you're on TikTok, I'm not. So
wait a minute, you're not on TikTok?
No. It's
I made one dumb TikTok video that I thought was hilarious that nobody's liked at all.
You got no likes?
That's why
it has a few likes. I was kicking my flip-flop in the air and then catching it and putting it back on my foot all in one swipe. And shit. I thought it was hilarious, and I called it the flip-flop challenge, and no one did the flip-flop challenge.
You know what it is, Ron? You're too goddamn good, man. You're too goddamn good.
I also had my shirt off when I did it.
Oh, okay. That should have sold some copies. Is that how TikTok works? You sell a copy?
Yes, I believe that is how it works. They make CDs of it. CD-ROMs, actually, specifically CD-ROMs.
Oh, yeah, because I was gonna buy a floppy of your TikToks. Throwing my Commodore 64 up in this bitch. Oh,
It's just me in a 8-pixel format.
Dude, like Oregon
just-
Trail. Oregon
just-
Trail TikTok.
It's just white squares. One square is flipping, and then it lands back on where my foot would be.
That's a sound.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
Great.
Again, guys, if you want to get more silly shit like this, get on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/thegreatestpod. You could get $5, gets you the extra podcast. $7 gets you art sent to your inbox. Art from Ed, that's great. And every once in a while, art from me that looks like a pile of garbage. So definitely want to get on that. It's going to be
That's
great.
pretty true. But also, and if you don't want to give us any damn money, that's fine. But you can also, for free, rate and review our podcast on Apple, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz, all the rest of the podcast apps. Also, like this video on YouTube, all that sort of jazz. So, doesn't cost you anything to do that. Doesn't cost you anything to contribute in that way. So, thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Greatest Pod.